Hey VC, it's Jonathan, your cheap and cheerful record collector. I hope everybody's doing well today and doing well out there. This is going to be a follow-up to a thread that the blues vinyl guy, my buddy up in Canada, did. And he did a 2021 blues vinyl tag. There was, of course, the original vinyl tag in January. And then we had a jazz vinyl tag, we had a country vinyl tag, and now we're having a blues vinyl tag. So being a blues hound from way back when, I had to jump on this right away. Got 20 questions, so let's get on it. First question is, show an electric blues album. So I went with a classic, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Double Trouble, and this is Couldn't Stand the Weather. Fantastic album. Everybody knows this. I really don't have to talk too much about it. It's just fantastic. Number two, show a acoustic blues album. So I went with another classic album, and this is the great Mississippi John Hurt, and this is Mississippi John Hurt Today. I think this was recorded like the early to mid 60s. It's just him and guitar. He's a very different blues singer, very almost country blues, and a very mellow voice, just beautiful, great guitar player, and just a great feel to him and stuff. I actually was lucky enough to see him in the early 60s one time. This album is produced by Patrick Sky. He was another folkie from that folk revival of the early 60s. And on here, Mississippi John Hurt does Payday, I'm Satisfied, Candyman, Karina Karina, Hot Time in the Old Town Tonight. Just great, great stuff. So if you're not aware or know of Mississippi John Hurt and you want some sort of mellower acoustic blues, definitely highly recommend Mississippi John Hurt. Next one, show a live blues album. So I'm going with the great Muddy Waters, live at Newport. And this was recorded July 3rd, 1960 in Newport, Rhode Island at the Newport Jazz Festival. And he does I've Got My Brand on You, I'm Your Hoochie Coochie Man, Tiger in the Tank, I Got My Mojo Working, etc., etc. Fantastic stuff. It's a repress on Chess Records, but great, great album. And next one he has, show a gatefold or a double album. So I went for actually a triple album, and it's Albert Collins. And this is Albert Collins live at the Icebreakers live at the Uncle Pass Carnegie Hall in Hamburg, Germany, 1980. That's the hall, I assume. And there's Albert. I'm always skeptical of a lot of these albums that come out years and years or decades later, and always worry about the quality of the recording. But this one turned out really good. It really recorded well. Of course, the performance is fabulous. And he does everything on here, Sweet Home Chicago, Frosty, Cold Cold Feelings, Mustang Sally, Mojo Working, Cold Cuts, Caledonia. Just great, great album. Great triple album. Albert Collins. All right, next is show your oldest album by year or how long you've had it. So this is actually a twofer because this is going to be my oldest and as well as my 10-inch record. And it's Ma Rainey. And this is Ma Rainey, First of the Great Blues Singers, Volume 1. Even though this came out in 1952, all the songs recorded in the late 1920s. And this is on Riverside Records, which is interesting. You have Riverside doing blues, so usually a jazz label, and it's on red vinyl. So there's Riverside, I'd have to show that, pretty cool. Ma Rainey. And if you haven't seen the movie, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, I would definitely suggest you check it out. Really great, really good. I don't know if it's on Netflix or Amazon, one of those channels, but definitely check it out. Ma Rainey, and that's Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Next one is show your latest find. So the latest find I just got the other day, not the newest album, but it's new for me, is Kev Moe. And this is Kev Moe's Keep It Simple. This is so great. I listened to this just the other day for the first time. What a great album. So great. This is from 2004. Fantastic. Kevmo. That's my latest find. Let me see what else we're looking for. The newest find. I don't have a Blues 45. I already showed my... I don't carry any... I don't do 7-inch records. It's a rabbit hole I don't want to go down. Once you start doing the 7 inches, it's a whole nother thing. I just don't have time and energy to deal with all that. Show the 10-inch, which I did. Show a chess record label. So this is a repress, not original, but it's the best of Muddy Waters. And there's the nice chess label. And this is a compilation, of course, of all his, a lot of his great album songs. I Just Want to Make Love to You, Long Distance Call, Honeybee, Rolling Stone, I'm Ready, She Moves Me, I Can't Be Satisfied. Fantastic stuff. Muddy Waters. The great Muddy Waters. Next one, show something on Delmark label. Delmark's a great blues label. And I went with one of my absolute favorites, is Magic Sam. This is the Magic Sam Legacy. If you don't know Magic Sam, he was a great blues man. He died 1970, I want to say. Late 69, early 1970. Just about to break through in the scene and be really big in the music business. And passed away. There's the Delmark label. Blue and white Delmark. If you don't know, definitely check out Magic Sam. Fantastic stuff. I'm trying to find a date on this. This came out in 1989, but I know it was recorded in the 60s because I know he passed away 69 or 70. There you go, Magic Sam. Next one, show something on Alligator Records. All right. Went with the great Coco Taylor. And this is live from Chicago, Coco Taylor and a Blues Machine. And an audience with the Queen. There she is, Coco Taylor. Great, great blues singer. And on the really nice Alligator green label. Love Coco Taylor. One of the great modern day blues singers. I mean, she's not with us anymore, I don't think, but she was one of the greats. All right. Next, show a smaller or indie blues label. All right, an indie blues label. This is one I'd be shocked if anybody see. I never saw this label before. The album is Little Walter, and the album is called Thunderbird, and it's on a label called Syndicate Chapter. It's a UK pressing, UK label, and Syndicate Chapter says, dealing in the finest rare post-war blues reissues, as you see right there. This is a great, great album. And there's a Syndicate Chapter label. Great Little Walter. Recording, mastering by the firm, editing, blah, blah, blah. May 1971. But most of the songs recorded 56, 55, 54, 57, up to 1958. But great Little Walter on Syndicate Chapter Records. Next one. Delmark, a blues album in a regional style. I went with Mississippi Fred McDowell, Mississippi Delta Blues. So Fred McDowell doing Mississippi Delta Blues, and recorded in 1965. I got to see him in 1970. I went to the Ann Arbor Blues Festival in 1970, saw so many great blues artists of the era. This is a great, great album. It's on Black Lion. I don't know if you know that label. I'll take it out and show it because it's a pretty cool little label. And this is a colored vinyl, so I can kill that bird off with this stone too. There's the black label, Black Lion, on yellow vinyl. Because the next question is, well, not the next, one of the questions is show album in delicious color. So I'll take it out so you can really see it. And there you go, Black Lion on the yellow. So that's a twofer right there. 2 for 1. All right. Next. Show a Psych Blues album. How about the first 10 Years After album? Can't get more bluesier or psychier than 10 Years After. Their first album with I Can't Keep From Crying, Spoonful, Losing the Dogs, Love Until You Die, Feel It For Me, the great Alvin Lee. 10 Years After. Show a British blues album. Again, went with a classic. John Mayall with Eric Clapton. John Mayall's Blues Breakers. Affectionately known as the Beano album because he's reading the Beano comic. But yeah, Beano, John Mayall and Blues Breakers, along with John McVie and Huey Flint, whoever Huey Flint is, but John McVie and Eric Clapton. That's your British one. An album by a king of the blues. I have so many B.B. King albums and Freddie King, but I went with Albert King. Fantastic album, Born Under a Bad Sign. This one is a Record Store Day mono issue done by Kevin Gray. Fantastic. Albert King. Born Under a Bad Sign. Next one, A Color, which I showed. A Friend Had the Blues and You Caught It Too. A recommendation. If I had to recommend any album, one of my absolute all-time favorite blues albums is Showdown. Showdown is with Albert Collins, Robert Cray, and Johnny Clyde Copeland. But a fantastic album. This is absolutely one of my all-time favorites. And this is also on Alligator, so I could have had a twofer for that also and used that for Alligator. But what a great, great album. Black Cat Bone, Blackjack, T-Bone Shuffle, She's Into Something. I just absolutely love this album. If you haven't heard it, 1985, Albert Collins, Robert Cray, and Johnny Clyde Copeland. If you haven't heard this album, you can find it not expensive. Pick it up, spin it, you'll dig it. It's so great. All right. Eureka, a glorious blues find or discovery. Here's a find. I was looking for this record literally for years, and I never saw it. And about a year ago, right before the lockdown, my wife and I were in England, and I was in this little record store in a town called Rye, and a place called Schoolhouse Records. It's in a building like from 1400s or something. And I'm in there looking around, and I asked him, I'm looking for a particular record. He goes, we don't have it. I said, all right, fine, I'll keep looking. I looked around. As I'm checking out with some other records, I look up on the wall, and behind the register on the wall is the record I was looking for. John Mayall with Peter Green, Hard Road. This is an original UK stereo pressing on Decca. But what a fantastic album. Also with John McVie, Ainsley Dunbar on drums now, Peter Green on lead guitar and vocals, and John Mayall. Like I said, was looking for this forever. I was so glad to be able to pick up an original in really good condition. So that's great. And the last one is the first blues album you ever remember getting. All right. I got this when this first came out. So this is probably 1965, I'm going to say, without looking at it. Yeah, I'm going to say 65, 66. And it's John Hammond, So Many Roads. This album, it's on Vanguard. You see the Vanguard, like you've seen that before. Nothing fabulous there, but what an amazing record. And when I first heard this album, besides loving the songs on it, there's a picture of John on the back, you start looking at it and you go, oh, who's playing with him on this album? C.D. Musselwhite plays harmonica, Charlie Musselwhite. Guitar, Jamie R. Robertson. Drums, Mark Levon Helm. Hammond organ, Eric Hudson. So that's three of the people from the band who I'd never heard of before at this time. Piano was Mike Bloomfield from the Paul Butterfield Band, etc., playing piano on that, and Jimmy Lewis on bass. I heard all these guys before they even made a name for themselves, really. They're all backing up John Hammond on this album. And the other thing about this album, on the songs he plays, you see on the bottom there, when I listen to a song, I would look at the bottom and say, Willie Dixon. I hadn't heard of Willie Dixon at this point, 1964. Who do you love? E. McDaniels. Who's E. McDaniels? Of course, Bo Diddley. Judgment Day, Robert Johnson. Had not heard of Robert Johnson yet. Willie Dixon, as Big Joe Williams, Luther Dixon. So all the guys that I ended up looking for and trying to find out who these people were is because of this album and hearing it and reading the back of it and saying, I got to find out who these guys were who wrote these songs. I got to find out who Willie Dixon was. Who is this guy, Robert Johnson? Who is this guy, E. McDaniels? Muddy Waters, I knew. He did Muddy Waters songs. But this was my first blues album. And again, I probably bought this in 1964 when I was 15 years old. Fantastic record. So that's the Blues Tag 2021. I want to thank my buddy, the blues vinyl guy up there in Canada, for putting this together for us. I think that's great. I've watched a number of them and really enjoy watching them. Hope you enjoyed watching this one. And until next time, peace.